Hey, and welcome. When we think about relationships, we usually picture two people connecting, right? But what if the actual foundation of every connection you have, with your friends, your family, even the world itself, starts somewhere much closer to home? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty cool idea, that all our relationships are really just an expression of the one you have with yourself. Let's get into it.
So let's just start with the big one. What is the true foundation of our relationships? I mean, is it shared hobbies? Is it chemistry? Mutual respect? All those things are important, for sure. But the source material we're digging into today suggests it's something way more fundamental. Something that actually exists inside our own consciousness.
So to even begin to answer that, we first have to understand the whole point of relationships in the first place. You see, they aren't just a part of life. In a lot of ways, they are life itself. They're the main way we learn and the main way we expand our sense of who we are.
Just think about it for a second. Every single interaction, from a really deep talk with someone you love, all the way down to a simple hello with a cashier, it all adds another piece to the puzzle of who you are. Each connection stretches your world a little bit wider, helping us become more whole.
And that brings us to a really important definition of this idea of wholeness. It's not some static thing you achieve, it's an active process. So the knower, that's you, yourself, is always extending out to the known, which could be another person, an idea, anything, through the process of knowing. And that right there is the relationship. So in this view, building relationships is literally the act of becoming more whole.
Okay, but if relationships are so natural and they're all about growth, why do they sometimes cause so much stress, so much anxiety, or that feeling of being disconnected? Well, this leads us to a core problem the source talks about, the fear of duality.
Duality is basically the feeling that the knower, our self, is fundamentally separate from the known. Everyone and everything else. It's that sense of being an isolated island in this huge ocean of otherness. And it pops up when we forget or we just don't understand how deeply connected everything really is. And here's the crucial point, the real kicker. When we feel separate, we feel fear. The source material puts it pretty bluntly. Certainly, fear is born of duality. The fear of being rejected, the fear of being misunderstood, of being alone, all those anxieties really come from that one fundamental sense of separation.
All right, so if duality and fear are the problem, where on earth do we find the solution? This is where our whole explainer takes a really fascinating turn. It suggests we need to look inward to find out that the self is the source of absolutely everything.
And this is the big idea, right here. Long before any relationship you have with someone else, there's a primary, internal one, the relationship of yourself with itself. The source calls this a self-referral dynamic. Think of it like the engine of creation, or the source code for every single connection we will ever have.
Let's break that down, because it's a huge concept. This whole dynamic has three moving parts. First, you've got the knower. That's consciousness, just observing. Second, there's the process of knowing, the actual act of observing. And third, you have the known, which is consciousness being observed. This little internal loop of consciousness knowing itself is, according to this view, the basis of all reality.
And what comes from this simple internal relationship? Just everything. It's the relationship of unity with diversity, how one single thing can create an entire universe of different things. It's the relationship between a single point of awareness and the infinity of all creation. It's incredibly powerful when you think about it.
So if we all have this unity deep inside us, how do we get back to actually experiencing it? The source frames this as a journey. You could even call it an evolution of consciousness, moving away from the fear of duality and toward a real, lived experience of wholeness. So here's a little roadmap of what that journey looks like. We start out in duality, right? That state of feeling separate and afraid that we talked about. The next major stage is something called cosmic consciousness. And the final destination, the goal, is unity consciousness.
So what exactly is cosmic consciousness? Think of it like being the deep, calm part of the ocean, even when the surface is getting tossed around by a storm. It's a state where you just naturally hold on to that inner connection, that quiet sense of wholeness, even when you're busy, stressed, or dealing with chaos. Your inner self stays steady, and that fear that's born from duality just starts to dissolve. And that brings us to the ultimate goal, the whole point of this evolutionary journey. This is a state where our understanding, our whole experience of what a relationship even is, gets completely transformed.
In unity consciousness, the journey is basically complete. It's here that the most intimate, true nature of reality just reveals itself. That separation we felt so strongly in duality, you realize it wasn't just bridged, it was an illusion all along.
So what do relationships even look like from this state of being? Well, they're based on a direct experience of wholeness. They just naturally become expressions of unconditional love and unconditional support. I mean, how could they not? If you see the other person as part of yourself, what else could you possibly offer?
And this is the really profound shift in perception. The line between the knower and the known, between self and other, it completely dissolves. You start to experience everyone and everything, not just as being like you, but as being made of the very same stuff as your own deepest self.
And so we're going to end with a question for you to take with you. If you truly, genuinely experience the world this way, if every single person, every object, every moment was just a reflection of your own self, how would you treat it? How would you relate to it? The answer to that, well, that might just change everything.
Thanks for joining me.